Mitsubishi has been flying under the radar for quite some time now. Sure, they've brought out special editions of the Pajero Sport and even brought back the Montero. But there's not been anything all new from the brand in a long time. But coming soon is this, the new Outlander. Question is, how good is it? And also, is this a model that will appeal to the growing lot of petrol SUV buyers in India? Let's find out. Before you squint your eyes and ask, is that really the new Outlander? You should know that this generation of the model was launched in 2012 but got a substantial update in 2015. And that's the one we get here. The shape isn't radical and doesn't have the swoopy lines of the latest lot of SUVs and crossovers, but some might actually like it for that reason. The Outlander is smart in look, but butch and imposing it is not. What actually takes away from the look are the 16-inch rims that are just a size or two too small. Still, the Outlander has its nice bits. The front grille, bumper and headlight arrangement that Mitsubishi calls Dynamic Shield is quite striking. It's a lot more conventional at the sides and rear, and the bulging wheel arches and kinked D-pillar you could identify the last Outlander sold in India with are not to be seen here either. In terms of size, the Outlander is actually longer than the upcoming new Honda CR-V. That's that for the exteriors, but how is the Mitsubishi on the inside? Let's start with row 1. You sit at a reasonably good height in the Outlander and correspondingly also get a reasonably good view of the road ahead. Drivers will also like the fact that their seats get multi-electric adjust, so it's fairly easy to find a comfortable driving position. But as for the view inside the cabin, I'm sorry, the news isn't all that good. And it's all down to this outdated looking cabin. It just doesn't look or feel like something you'd expect in an SUV in 2018. What also drags things down a bit in the cabin is the all black theme, and the plastics aren't quite the best, and there are also a lot of these dummy switches which can be a bit irritating to look at, to be honest. And then there's the 6.1-inch touchscreen that is small, looks aftermarket and misses out on essentials like satellite navigation, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. But like the last gen Outlander, this one too gets a 6.1 channel Rockford sound system with a subwoofer in the boot. Other features include a sunroof, auto headlamps and wipers, dual zone climate control, a powered driver's seat and heated front seats. As for safety, the Outlander gets 7 airbags, traction control, stability control and hill start assist. LED headlights are not part of the package, but the bigger disappointment is that there are no aircon vents for the rear seat passengers. The middle row is a bit of a mixed bag itself. The middle row seat itself is quite comfortable. It's pretty well padded, and you do also have the option to adjust the backrest to your liking. What's also nice is the center armrest that's positioned quite well, but it's not quite perfect in here. There's no rear aircon vents, and if you notice, headroom is also a bit limited for taller passengers. There is more legroom than this. All you need to do is slide your seat back and just rest back. The Outlander gets a third row of seats, but like most other SUVs, think of it as a 5+2 arrangement rather than a proper 7-seat one. So you can't make the most elegant of entries into the last row of the Outlander. You need to be a bit flexible, which unfortunately I'm not. There we go. So my knees are nearly at chest height, so this is not the ideal seating position and very tight on headroom, not a place for adults. And note, this is with the middle row pushed all the way up front. There's no way a passenger can sit in the middle row at this setting. The Outlander experience gets vastly better as we get moving. Mitsubishi ladder frame SUVs are known to be hardy and tough, and the monocoque bodied Outlander too feels like one of the tribe in the rough. There's no four-wheel drive with low range like you get on the Pajero Sport, but there is all-wheel drive, and you have the option to lock it for maximum traction. It tackles the rutted parts I'm on with ease, and I have a feeling it'll be quite capable in the monsoon muck too. The Outlander is really good on our famed broken roads as well. Remember those 16-inch rims that we spoke of earlier? Well, their thick sidewall tires really come into play on bad and broken surfaces. The tires just take that first hit so well, and the Outlander just feels so solid on broken patches of road. It almost drives like a ladder frame chassis SUV. Yes, it feels that indestructible. On smoother surfaces and at higher speeds, the ride is largely flat without the setup feeling harsh on the odd bump. And it's nice to drive in the corners too. Mitsubishi has a habit of getting its steerings right, and the Outlanders is in the good pages of that book. Yes, it is an electronic power steering, but it feels weighty and meaty just like an old school hydraulic unit would. You get a great feeling of control, and you know what? The Outlander also drives with the agility of something much smaller. There is some body roll, but it's so subdued that you can maintain a good clip on a twisty road without your passengers having a bout of motion sickness. Just as effective is the Outlander's engine. Diesel lovers, I'm sorry, there's some bad news here. The Outlander will only be offered with a petrol engine. The engine in question is a 2.4-litre naturally aspirated 4-cylinder unit. It uses variable valve tech but makes a middle-of-the-road 167 horsepower and 222 Nm. The engine comes mated to a 6-step CVT. The Outlander engine's power output may not be a shining figure, but this is still a very likable engine. The build of power is progressive and it feels torquey, which is just what you'd want from your SUV. Okay, you might miss the added thrust of a turbo in the mid-range, but there's enough good old-fashioned grunt. Overtakings are never a problem, but when you do get the engine excited, the weak link of the package also comes shining through, and that is the CVT gearbox. Above 3,500 RPM or so, you get that rubber band effect, and there's an artificial connect between road speed and engine speed. You can get by via manual shifts at the column-mounted paddle shifters, but still, it's not quite the best of experiences. In the final analysis, here's what the Outlander is like. On the face of things, the Outlander is not an SUV that will make you run towards a Mitsubishi showroom near you, provided that there is one near you to begin with. Sure, it is smart in an understated sort of way, but it doesn't have that macho appeal typical SUV buyers are looking for. The interior is also not particularly lavish, and the equipment levels are so-so. As for the driving experience, the CVT gearbox takes a bit away from it, but the petrol engine is more than pleasant. There's also more of Mitsubishi's DNA in the ride and handling department, and this really is one of those SUVs that grows on you the more time you spend with it. So if you're open to the idea of spending about 30 lakh rupees on a petrol SUV, don't forget to give this one a look.